Welcome to episode 10 of SDR on Mars. I'm here with Gazal Chadha, and we're going to talk a little bit about being a salesperson. So, Gazal, I'll let you sort of run your own intro here for a second.
Yay! So I'm Gazal Chadha, and I am at the moment an SDR, Sales Development Representative at Net2Phone Canada. I started my journey as an SDR in end of November, let's say December 2020. It's almost been 6+ months now, nearly there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. Very interesting, and it's not all just the outcome. I think it's a lot to do with your personality development also in this role, and I think we would dig a little bit deeper as the time goes. But what I'm responsible for is I have to get business for the company, so I reach out to people during the day and see if they need something that could add value to their systems on a day-to-day basis and how it's going with them. So yeah, just check in. That's what
Cool.
I do.
Awesome. I can't believe it's been 6 months already that you've been in this role.
I know. Jeremy, you're the first one I spoke to, didn't I?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was.
Cool. Okay. And would you consider it 6 months of learning? Like, how would you describe your 6 months to someone who maybe isn't in a sales role?
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's not been in this role and does not really understand that. It started with just how to be comfortable with having to pick up your phone and call people in middle of the day when they're not expecting your call, and not being offended and learning not to get offended when things don't go according to you or the conversation doesn't flow according to what you want, because there is a desire or need to fulfill your goals also. It's been a journey of emotionally, I think, stabilizing myself through the good as well as through the bad. So it's not only the bad days, it's even the good days, like not to get too excited if things don't work out and not to get too upset if things don't work out. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that transparency, actually. It's something that I don't think we hear a lot of in sales, and it's very much a reality of sales.
Really, I thought people would be more honest about something like this, because that's the reality.
I don't think they're dishonest about it. I think that's just it's not something that people talk about a lot.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've had an interesting experience in that way. Like, I have had SDRs approach me on LinkedIn and actually from a different part of the world altogether. And the community is so interesting, and actually approaching me and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" And I would be absolutely willing to support you and help you through your journey of being an SDR. And I thought it was a very supported environment that they have also created somewhere. That was interesting for me. I've never really experienced that before. So
yeah, I find the SDR community outside of even your organization's kind of thing, it's very supportive. And you start to see these organizations like SDR Nation or Rev Genius or whatever. And it's literally just a collection of SDRs trying to help each other.
Yes, and better each other.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And whereas from the outside it might look that we are competing all the time with each other, but it doesn't feel like that at all, to be very honest with you. I think we are really supportive.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, working for Net2Phone, you're competing with other SDRs who might be selling VoIP services, but that's a very small section of the SDR pool, right?
Yes, that's very true. So yeah, but I like the way everyone is, they're happy for each other, achieving each other's goals, so their own goals.
Yeah,
so it's quite fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you are an SDR with Net2Phone Canada, and did you mention it already? I'm blanking already. Did you sort of outline what your day-to-day is, kind of thing?
Not exactly.
Okay.
So my day-to-day, I have to have touch points on day-to-day basis. So we tend to make almost 80 outbound calls. And then, depending on how the conversation goes, we also touch base through via emails to people, maybe send it to the gatekeeper or an administrator at the office, or to the person who's actually in charge of the phone systems. We use Salesforce on a day-to-day basis to make those calls and to send those emails out. We also use LinkedIn Navigator to actually understand the company structure, what they do, and who's the right person to get in touch with, because I think that's one of the most important things, is to get in touch with the right person, which is like literally step one to get anyone on to get going in the process. Step two would be to extract information. Is that what is it that they're using currently, and what's the seat size, and how big the organization is. And that's what we do. So it's quite constant. It's like you got to balance your day between calls and emails, and to also be ready for next day and how you would like to approach day to day, hour by hour, kind of a structure that you would want to have. And it's something that I'm still in the process of doing for myself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, time management is a thing that you can always build skills on. Like, I consider myself pretty good at it, but like there's so much room to get better.
I absolutely agree. I think you're like always under construction in the process.
Yeah, so. That's the way it goes. Okay, and so Net2Phone is headquartered, or Net2Phone Canada is headquartered out of Ottawa. Where are you working from?
I'm in Toronto right now.
Right. So you are completely remote.
I started this role. This is my first ever role remote. I started remotely, and it's been very interesting.
Right.
I'm not yet sure how big of a fan I am about it. I feel that one can miss out on a lot of things. Like if I was in the office, I think I would learn more, because I would be interacting with people from different departments and different experiences. And I think here you're just trying to figure things out on your own a lot more, as compared to that constant interaction and the environment. And you're trying to create your own environment here. And, you could be living with people who are not in an SDR or not in this role, and might not be able to understand where you're coming from and your challenges. So I think, that just sense of community and environment. However, the team's been really good. I was quite impressed, being very honest with you. I think they're so supportive. And I think that really worked in my favor, because as soon as I joined in, like, the person in charge had to leave. So I think they really, I really was able to turn to them and ask for help. So it's been a very interesting journey.
Cool. I like that. There's definitely, having some supportive leadership, I think, is pretty important, especially when you're coming into something new like this.
Yeah, very, very.
Awesome. Okay. And so I guess this is a new process for you as well, because discovery is usually pretty territorial to SDRs. So tell me a little bit about learning about discovery, or how you do it.
When you say discovery about...
Like discovery about your prospects, like when you're on the phone with them, like you need to have that more of a consultative conversation, I guess, right?
Yes. Oh my God. And that was something that I wasn't aware of. Like when I started, I was like I think it was more of interrogation that I was having with the prospects, rather than actually have a conversation. And I think I do sometimes switch back to that mode sometimes, but the best thing is, it's not that you want to make a sale. It's like you want to build a relationship for them to understand you, and you to be able to understand them. So usually there are a couple of questions that I ask, like, okay, what is it that you're currently using, and how many seats or how many users do you have in total, and are you under a contract? Because if they're under a contract, I mean, I want them to experience other services, and I don't want to push on ours because they're already under a contract, right? And I'm of course respectful of that fact. And then I just asked them if they would be more interested if they would be interested in exploring other options and opportunities, maybe closer to the renewal of the contract. And usually they say yes, and they let me know when is that time, and I put that in as a next sales step in our Salesforce, and probably touch base with them closer to the time. And and ask them about, usually a conversation is to ask them how their experience has been with their current provider, and if there was any scope of improvement in that aspect. So that's how you get the conversation going. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes people don't have time, and sometimes it's bad. So it's really like your luck out there in a way. But I've always realized that as soon as you move out of your comfort zone, of really actually challenging that, if they are okay, and you do get good positive feedback. But that I mean is like, if you actually don't give up in asking them or having that conversation, what is it that actually they like about their services? If you keep asking, and if they do open up, and I feel that you got to not just give up immediately, ask them like 3 times from different angles. That how's it going? Anything you could do better? Any way we can add value? Any certain features that they're looking for? Eventually, they do give you something. So that's what I mean. So that's the kind of process that we go into it.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool. And I mean, obviously, this conversation fits into a cadence as well, and all of those fun things. So tell me a little bit, I guess, was cadence like a thing that you were used to in any of your previous roles?
No, I think this is my first role with Salesforce, and it's really fun. I really enjoy Salesforce, and I think there's so much to discover about Salesforce. It's quite deep, and everyone can do so many things out there, and I'm learning about that. I wasn't used to cadence, but it's an easy process. I wouldn't say it's complicated at all. It's quite easy. It helps you to keep account of your leads, East Coast, West Coast, the ones that are hot, the ones that are warm. So, you can make your own list of the ones that you would like to approach in this very month, or, and but on the other side, I do have my own personal Excel sheet that I maintain, where I am more aware of certain leads that have the ones that have expressed more interest. Okay. So for me to sometimes just start my day with those, and just to touch base with them. So yeah, I think it's easy. It's easy.
Okay, cool. I find it can be an intimidating word, so I like that you feel like it's a very easy thing to manage.
Yes, it's not very complicated at all.
What do you think is a common objection that you run into while you're, going through your discovery process with different clients?
I think I think the major objection would be getting the right person, and something we call them the gatekeepers, the receptionists. I'm not sure if they're aware of us calling them gatekeepers, to be honest with you. That was like my first question when I joined, who's a gatekeeper? And everybody just laughed. I think getting to the right person is like the first step, and you get it. Sometimes the objection is right at the gatekeeper level, and that's a hard one to crack to get through that person. So you try to use words like, I'm just calling to have a chat about your current phone systems. So it's not that I'm calling from a different company, but I'm calling just to have a chat about the current phone systems. So they actually think that I'm calling from the current company than I am, just to get to the right person. Yeah, that's some tricks of the trade that I've learned with time. However, a lot of people say that they don't want to go through the hassle of changing or switching, and that's when you put yourself as like the kind of customer service and support that we have, and you put that across in nice words. Also, they said that they don't need right now. I think is that why is it that they don't need right now, and there must be a reason. So you want to get to that reason. That's the kind of objections that we usually face. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And what do you feel like, in your navigation or tool belt to handle, different scenarios? What do you feel like is your most useful sort of tool?
You mean like the kind of pitch? Is that what you?
I'll keep it broad. It could be a technology tool. It could be your pitch. It could be, your tone. It's really, what you feel like.
Yeah, I've definitely observed that. That's a very good point. Tone makes a lot of difference. I think when you're anxious and desperate sometimes on a call, it comes across like that, and you don't really get that traction from the lead or the prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're cool and calm and just like checking in, I've seen that you get really good response. It doesn't feel like a pressure for the other person. I think you kind of do end up projecting your pressure. So it's very important in this role to, even though there is pressure in this role, but not to feel the pressure.
Right.
And I think it is interesting because that can actually come out and can be projected through your voice. Um, I have definitely found success when I've taken just one step at a time and one day at a time, rather than thinking, oh my God, I have like 20 days to go or 10 days to go and I haven't reached my goal.
Right.
It's literally like positioning and grounding yourself to now and this moment, and just follow the process that you've created for yourself, which is calling the warm leads, touching base with them, emailing them, following up with them, and just doing that, managing yourself hour by hour helps you to get to your goal. So not to get intimidated by the goal, but to enjoy and be in the process is something that I'm learning. And I think it's something that really works in this role.
Right. I like that. Actually, that's a good segue. How do you get into like this headspace or the right place for you to like get on sales calls and do all this kind of outreach?
I think it depends on how you start your day. I think you need to start your day a little bit with self-talk, and to put your mind in the right frame, to say what is the kind of day you want to have today. And some days it works really well, and be honest with you, some days it doesn't. Just day before yesterday, I was panicking, especially end of the month and beginning of the month.
Right.
Like, oh my God, you have to let go all that you achieved and you have to start completely afresh. That can be a little intimidating, and but you just deal with it, and you say, and then you again ground yourself at this. What am I doing right now? It's literally like this moment. What cause am I creating right now to see that effect in the future? It's literally like that.
Okay, cool. So you just like focus on the now. That's what you can control.
Yes,
okay.
That is the way.
I like it. I like it. Cool. So when I talked to you previous to working with Net2Phone, you had worked in some other sales capacities as well, but maybe not like in the SDR capacity. So what do you think keeps attracting you back to work in sales roles?
I was, to be honest with you, this was my first sales role. And I was in customer service before. So it was something a little different. I was doing inbound.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing outbound. I think you can have more, you can navigate outbound better, maybe, because it's in your control, right? Whereas inbound is like, you don't know how someone's approaching you with from where. In a way, I mean, that's the positive way of outbound. I find sales is challenging. I think there are a few things that I've learned and I've developed and I'm still developing in this role, such as being very goal oriented on not only end of the month, for the month, but also day to day, being a part of that process, to be persistent and persevere, because there are going to be days and it's going to be hard. The days you might not even have one good conversation and maybe not good leads. And how do you still keep yourself motivated to get through that? I think you're learning self motivation through this process. Also, there's something called, I call it a hunter's hat that I wear sometimes to have that hunter kind of mindset. I like the smile that comes up when I say that.
You said the hunter's hat?
Yeah, I have an imaginary one. You know,
Nice.
how in Harry Potter we have that sends you to different houses, I would say.
Oh, the sorting hat. Okay.
Right, the sorting hat. I have imaginary hunter's hat.
And so do you imagine that your hunter's hat looks like the sorter's hat? Like
No, mine is more like cowboy, actually. Yeah. So So there are days when I'm just like, I got to get some today. And I'm not going to move until I have that. I have one demo that I have scheduled for my AE. I have the one client that I want to help out with their phone systems. So I put this imaginary hat and I'm at it, and that's me in my zone. See, that's what I say.
I love it. I love it. It's like taking the metaphor of like we wear so many different hats to like this is my hat.
Yep, this is my hunter's hat.
Awesome. Okay, cool. If you were talking to someone who is considering working in a sales role now that you've sort of, taken this on and seen a new challenge in the last 6 months, how would you sort of explain to them or help them understand what that decision is?
Well, I would first of all tell them to give themselves a bit more time than they think. Like, I don't think it's one of those roles that you do for 2-3 months and you get it. I think you're always evolving. There is a lot to read and study and develop in this role, and it's a lot to do with self-development rather than depending on others. And this is my realization. If you want to develop like other skills that I mentioned, being goal-oriented, persistent, persevere, and how to motivate yourself, how to structure yourself as a person. I think that's what you learn from this role. Yes, and honestly, like your motivation could be different. Like I was never motivated with money, and I feel I'm shifting in that aspect because you now have kind of tasted it, how it is. So and that's a good motivation too. And everybody has different ones, right? So for me, motivation has always been learning and developing and becoming a better version of myself. But now money is getting into it a little bit. So that's interesting shift that I have seen. But I would say that others could do that. They would prefer that more. For others, I would say give yourself time, be easy on yourself, keep working on yourself. Definitely give it a try. I think you develop more skills and character through this role rather than just achieving your goals. So if you're that kind of person, you should give it a shot, definitely.
Cool. Actually, that's sort of interesting that you mentioned motivation. So one of the things I wanted to ask you today is like when you were considering a role like working with net to phone versus the customer service like inbound, what are some things that help you decide whether or not you want to start working in that role? Like what do you consider?
Honestly, like for me personally, it was like adventure. I feel different roles. I'm a very adventurous person. I feel like different roles help you to discover different parts of you. So for me, it was never about, oh, this is what I'm going to get. I can't make up my mind what I'm going to get out of a role until I'm in that role and experiencing that role, right?
Right.
So for me, it's like a fresh new chapter. For me, it's like, okay, it's a new adventure and I want to give it a shot and give it a try. And there are a lot of things that I discovered that's me being very open-minded in my own by myself, like being open-minded about what's coming my way. And I feel when I'm like that, it helps me to learn more and better and expand myself in different ways. So customer service was great. I enjoyed it. Sales is something that I'm learning and I'm enjoying it. There are days I enjoy, there are days I don't. And it's something that I'm developing skills through that. So I'm just exploring it and it's nice. It's good.
Cool. Awesome. I mean, I can tell you're adventurous. You're sitting on a beach right now. Like you must obviously be an adventure hunter.
Yep, I am indeed. This is the maximum beach I'm getting this summer, I think.
Nice. So how do you start your day? Do you like drink a lot of water? Do you like drink tequila? Like what do you do?
Oh, I wish I could start my day with tequila. That would make my day very adventurous, just to go back to that. No, I start my day with a glass of warm water and I do some yoga just to ground myself and to clear my head. And I do chant. I practice Buddhism. So I do chant in the morning just to set my intentions right and my determination right. And then I sit in front of my system and I'm like, okay, now it starts. And I have almost every day I have 2 boiled eggs for breakfast. That's what I do. It's the easiest thing to make. So yeah.
So I'm pretty like familiar with like the benefits of yoga. I like to do it a lot myself as well, and that kind of pulls me into the sphere of Buddhism. So I've seen chanting, and I've done some chanting as well. The
Nice.
warm water isn't one that I know though. Why do you do warm water?
Sorry?
Why do you drink warm water in the morning?
I feel I do it just to make my system feel that I'm not putting caffeine directly into it. I'm just like, that's the only reason. I'm just like being kind to it a little bit. Like, I don't think I even have a full cup before I move to coffee, but I'm just like, let's just be easy on you today. So I start with warm water because that's supposed to be like the most natural thing to have before I jump onto caffeine for the rest of the day.
I love that so much.
That's the only idea, by the way.
That was awesome. I was expecting this like really insightful answer. I was like, no, I'm just like trying not to hurt myself. Okay, cool. So after a good day of, your outreach, you've maybe booked some demos or met some goals. How do you like kind of take a step away and like make sure that you're, not working all through the evening?
And to be honest, the day I do book my demos, I do end with tequila, celebrating it. Like, yes, it was a good day today. But I do enjoy music. I think that's my way of detaching myself or like taking a break from the world, just and I've been watching a lot of TV lately.
Okay.
Yes, I watched the Startup. I don't know if you've watched it. It's really good. You should definitely watch it. Startup is cool. And
Startup. I've not heard of Startup. Where do you watch that?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Nice. I'm gonna check it out now.
Check it out. But I started watching this thing on Manifest. Oh gosh. Have you heard about that?
It's a show called Manifest?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I haven't heard of that one either.
So there's a bunch of people on a flight and there's a huge thunderstorm, and when they land like 5.5 years or 5 years later. And and then they're trying to catch up with life, which changed apparently in a couple of hours. So yeah, it's okay. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it right now. Not sure.
I feel like you get completely different recommendations on Netflix than I do.
What do you get? That's interesting.
I don't know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I would get Disney too, but just yeah. We do have different recommendations then, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. So what is next for you in terms of like, I don't know, is it career growth? Is it, you're looking forward to summer plans next? Like what happens next for you?
Jeremy, I'm taking a big step, by the way. I have decided to move to Montreal.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yep.
I love Montreal.
You do?
It's so fun.
I'm glad to hear that because I literally know 3 people there, maybe.
So right what now is pulling you to Montreal?
That's the adventure side of me that's talking.
Okay.
You see, honestly, I want to live by myself for a while, and Toronto is expensive as compared to Montreal.
Yeah.
And also just the whole idea of experiencing something new and different. I mean, I've been here in this box of this, though it's really nice where I am. But I just feel the need of trying something different, doing something different, putting myself in a different situation to discover a different side of me. So just that ideology. So I'm moving probably by next weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's quick.
So yes, it is. I haven't started packing yet. So.
Oh, yes. Nice. Okay. So that's what you're doing this weekend?
Yes. And the rest of the week. Okay. And saying goodbyes and meeting people. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing this summer. My summer's going to be in Montreal, so I'm quite excited about that.
That is cool. I was literally talking to Kaylee like the other day, and she was like, we should go to Montreal more. It's like right beside us. So maybe we'll come visit.
I would love that. It would be so nice to see actually someone from office in person. Would be so nice. So nice.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I think you're going to enjoy Montreal a lot. It's a pretty cool city.
Thank you for saying that. And everyone who lives in Montreal loves Montreal for some reason. So I'm more curious about it now.
Yeah, it has a lot of like culture, I think, in Montreal, which is like something that I didn't. I guess I didn't live in Toronto long enough, but I didn't find Toronto had the same sense of culture. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm not very good at catching a vibe of a place. That's what I was discussing with my friend yesterday. It's like, I'm not very good at acknowledging that or understanding that, but let's see how that works out.
I'll be interested to actually hear what you think about it then, because like I find it almost hard to ignore in Montreal.
Interesting. We'll find out. We'll definitely have a follow-up chat about that.
Yes, we will. And I guess that's going to bring us to the end of the episode. So that was also a good segue. So I will talk to you soon about your experience in Montreal. And if any of you guys would like to talk to Gazal, I'm going to tag her in this post as well. And you can learn a little bit more about VoIP services with Net2Phone as well. And that's pretty much going to do it for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for your time and everything that you do. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, Gazal.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.